Okay, I've had to redo this video several times with the internet dropping and whatnot. There is a new report that's been released talking about the torture that has been inflicted upon the Iraqi and Afghani people. And there's my personal opinion and how I feel about this and other views that I have on this. But what I want to focus mostly on are the basic facts of the case, of the situation. Um, and so, reporting on the facts, there is a document that's already been released, but there's thousands of pages that you don't see. But it revalidates things that you've already heard and have suspected about torture in those areas, including sexual assault and rape, including towards men. Now, I don't know how many case studies they looked at. I've read a couple reports on it. I personally am not ready to read the full report because of how it personally affects me. But what I want to say is that this isn't being done to bring greater accountability in regards to the U.S. government, CIA, or other alphabet agencies involved in torture, rape, or human trafficking for that matter, which involves the plucking of young girls from NGO refugee camps and directly inserting them into the sex trafficking rings worldwide to work at some of the brothels that their friends are managing. And we know this is taking place in Syria. We know this is taking place throughout the Middle East, and that Western nations are involved in it. And so this is one of the most immoral things that I've had to witness, read about on a regular basis, know is happening in my heart. Yet at the same time, no, I also live in a country where most people don't care about these issues because they genuinely feel that people from those regions of the planet are subhuman, even if they know that 9/11 was an inside job. There is so much propaganda that has been used to dehumanize, to subhumanize the people from those regions of the world. Even in the eyes of those that view black people as niggers, to even direct them and hit them with the propaganda and put a Afghani and Iraqi to the average racist to place them even lower than a black person. Now, I don't believe that one is better than the other, but what I do know is that that propaganda does exist, that there is a false reality that some people subscribe to, a hierarchy of the value when it comes to where someone's from, based on what they're told about people from certain regions of the planet by the mass media and educational institutions. In regards to Afghanistan and Iraq, most people subconsciously view them as subhuman. If that was not the case, and if women were awake today in this country, even in regards to real feminism, real genuine women's lib, not the counterfeit version that's given to people that's mass distributed. If there was a real conscious movement in this country in regards to equality of gender, equality of race, equality of so many other things, then you would not see people allowing this to take place in our name. Knowing that there are women out there being kidnapped, raped, and horrible things are happening to their family members because they were born in the wrong country at the wrong time. This injustice has needed to stop for some time, and I have hours of commentary on this topic. But it's not just the American people or people in the West that have been targeted with the propaganda that people from these regions are subhuman. It includes people from those regions that have migrated to the United States, that have bought into this way of life, that are just so grateful they don't live in those regions anymore. They ain't saying shit about shit. It's probably a good thing that I'm not a native-born Afghani, and that I simply come from the seed of one who was, at one point, who came to the United States in 1967, meeting my mom in 77, me popping out of the womb in 1980. Because all of those that are directly from that land, they ain't saying shit. In fact, some of them are serving Darth Vader. They are serving the New World Order in regards to playing that role, taking that money, and translating for the military-industrial complex and their mercenary subsidies. Groups like Blackwater, currently called Z. Many names for some of these groups. Like the tradition of the Native American being paid by the Spanish, being paid by the white man, to show the white man where the village is, to lead the white man through the forest, the dangerous forest, and be the guide for the imperialistic army, to point out where they are, to teach them the customs. This whole thing about Afghanistan has been an invasion and takeover of a country for more than what people have been told, and certainly not about stopping terrorism. The country is rich in resources, rare earth minerals. Ironically, China has a monopoly on these rare earth minerals, and regardless of the fact that the United States has been there for well over a decade, supposedly for U.S. interests, here we see China benefiting from an oil pipeline deal in Afghanistan with the puppet government, Hamid Karzai's government, which is a puppet of the U.S. And so, horrible things have opened up in these countries, in these regions, in this particular region of the planet. And this particular report, as I attempt to close here, is simply being released to make it appear that the current administration is trying to be accountable, by blaming everything on the previous administration. Not only that, it brings down the image of the United States, and there are plans for World War III, which is involves an occupation of American soil. All this hatred of America, it will continue to be beaten into the minds of those that will be one day holding the guns, that will be occupying the equivalent of FEMA camps in a future occupied America. They are already being hit with the nationalistic propaganda. And America has been used to destroy America. We're seeing this process play out with this next decade of civil unrest. We're not even at World War III yet. You may see preparations for it. You may think that we're on the cusp. We're not at the cusp. This is all going to be built. This whole machinery of this next coming stage World War, the coming stage World War III between China, Russia, and the United States, it takes time to plan. It takes time to play off. And it takes time to build up so much global hatred against the United States to where men and women will be willing to die to get out of their country and have the chance to come to this country and beat the shit out of any American that they can get their hands on or their penis on. I'm telling you, I have always seen dark days coming to this country, and it's a big part of why I'm isolated in my personal life. I don't see this change. This is bad what the U.S. has done to other countries. This is really, really bad. And karma's coming to collect, and I'm trying to warn people. I'm trying to find the words and the strength to continue to warn people, even if people don't want to hear it. They've only released this report to get people pissed off. And that's why there's thousands of pages that you don't get to see, owning a few pages or a few hundred pages, where it just revalidates that they've been raping people, sexually assaulting people, and they're willing to share some of the graphic details. We'll see more dirt brought out. We'll see more reports from RT talking about 9/11 being an inside job, but it won't change anything. It won't get people to really think about the suffering that those people that are actually human beings that are not subhuman, those Afghanis, those Iraqis, and others around the world. People need to face the suffering that they have been going through regardless of who's to blame, and simply show some compassion and willingness to come to their aid. Or if they can't come to their aid, come to the aid of those that are trying to come to their aid by reporting on what's going on. I'm trying to report on the things that are going on. It's difficult with the limited, with my current situation. But my spirit won't give up, and I just won't lay down and die. It is being unraveled and released again to the public that the United States and associated countries, but in particular the United States, has engaged in some of the most ruthless acts towards other human beings. And it's not being done to show that our country is moving in a direction of greater accountability. It is being done to create a backlash, as they report now that they're concerned about the Persians. Oh, we have to up the terror threat because of what we've unraveled, because of what we've released. And so this is being done to create more terror, more fear, and more resentment against the people of the United States as we come closer and closer to the staged, managed World War III scenario, where the controllers of this staged, managed war have already determined how the game's going to play out and who the victor is. In order to get as many participants willing to invade the United States, it's in their agenda to bring out our dirt before the whole world, and at the same time doing absolutely nothing to truly be accountable and stop the injustices that are taking place right now. Drone strikes and everything. None of that will change. It will only get worse as those aspects of our government that are in sabotage mode continue to show the world our dirt with no remorse for the things that it has done. It's like some dark satanic ritual, admission of evil. It's like bathing in the blood. It's really sick, and the karma of this country and those that have done evil to others, the karma that's going to come and collect on an individual and collective level is just, it is enormous. All the more reason to speak against the evils in action, in motion today, regardless of what you perceive the outcome to be. Because we may have free will, but we're not running this whole show. You don't know what the outcome is. I don't know what the outcome will be to our lives as we stand up against this. But we have that free will that can choose to ride with the ultimate faith that we are doing the right thing when we stand against evil. This is a time to recenter on those values as individuals that we cherish in our heart. And it's having values, it's having principles, it's having passions, it's having a spirit that I think will carry us through the fires engulfing our bodies today and the fires that we will face tomorrow in this fallen realm that for whatever reason we have incarnated into. That's all for now.